Alien friggin' Romulus. All right, folks. Well, I saw Alien Romulus over the course of the weekend, and now I am jazzed to tell you about it because you absolutely, if you like Alien or any of those movies, that franchise should definitely see Alien Romulus because it is quite good. It is a tasty treat. If you want to avoid spoilers, well, you have all the information you need to know now. Well, not quite. I'm going to go over some things that are not technically spoilery. Because let me tell you just right off the bat, like, one of the things that hits hardest about Alien Romulus is the fact that they use so much practical effects. I cannot stress enough how good the movie looks when they're using practical effects. There is some CGI. I mean, they've got a whole sequence in you see it in the trailers that involves CGI and some fluid in zero gravity, and that stuff takes CGI. But by and large, the sets are practical. The aliens are practical. It looks good. There's just something visceral about it. Something that really, something you feel like you can sink your teeth into as a watcher. You know, honestly, love that for this movie. So, what is Alien Romulus about? Well, here's where you may want to back out if you want to go into this movie blind, which I wouldn't discourage you from doing. But you should definitely come back here afterwards so you can hear what I actually had to say about the film. All right. So what's the movie about? Well, the movie takes place in between Alien and Aliens. That's right. It takes place between the first and second films in the series. I'm going to get into this later on, but the thing I love about this movie, the thing that's great about Alien Romulus, is that Alien Romulus understands that it is a course correction for the Alien franchise. And that's exactly what the film is doing. While at the same time, though, not being a disrespectful piece of shit about it, like Rise of Skywalker. That's right. I'm going to compare Alien Romulus to Rise of Skywalker in a way that is very unfavorable to Rise of Skywalker. You see, once upon a time, there was a franchise called Star Wars. And they were going to bring it back, and they had J.J. Abrams direct one of those movies, and it was basically, and that movie was called The Force Awakens, and it was basically just a reskinning of a bunch of old Star Wars stuff with maybe a couple new ideas sprinkled in for flavor. And then they had a director who had previously been making pretty much bangers all around come in to direct a new Star Wars. And what did he do? Well, he decided to be real adventurous with it, really go out there, make some challenging choices. And the fans got mad because all their fan theories were proven completely bullshit. And that director, well, what he was trying to do with the story was essentially canceled, and they made Rise of Skywalker, which was a huge course correct and a huge fuck you to the previous film. Hell, it doesn't even really play off of the stuff that's set up in The Force Awakens either. It's as far as movies go, it is a mess. Now, the thing about Alien Romulus is that Alien Romulus is also a course correct, a retuning, a attempt to bring it back around to what we love about Alien. But it doesn't do this by setting Prometheus and Alien Covenant on fire and then kicking them down a flight of stairs. No. In fact, Alien Romulus affirms those movies and what they were about as part of the overall Alien lore. And that's the thing, is that Alien Romulus respects the lore. Now, to be fair, I'm not like totally lore brained when it comes to Alien, so it's possible there's some minor details that I personally wouldn't be able to tell you if this movie's getting them wrong. That's not what I'm saying. The point is, though, is that this movie understands the lore and it's not out here to try and just jettison whatever lore it doesn't like into space. In fact, the thing that's nice about Alien Romulus is that Alien Romulus takes from almost all the Alien movies and brings it into one honestly kind of concise package. Now, there are some people who have complained the movie drags a little bit, and I could see how we could trim down that ending a little bit, but honestly, it didn't bother me personally all that much. The other thing that the movie does well is that it contains most of the major themes from the franchise, whether that's the humanity of androids, whether that is the nature of space, or most importantly, whether that's the Weyland Yutani Mining Corporation, who are the real villains of the entire franchise, if you think about it. They're ever present throughout all the movies, including Alien versus Predator. The Weyland Yutani Company is at its root the source of most of the disasters that take place within inside the Alien universe. And that's 100% true of Alien Romulus. In fact, it's right out in front in Alien Romulus. You see, in Alien Romulus, we follow two main characters named Rain and Andy, two siblings. Air quotes are mean there, but I'll explain what they're there for. Two siblings who live on a Weyland Yutani Company, mining planet, where they're trying their hardest not to be sent into the mines, where, they will have to do horrible manual labor and probably get some type of lung disease. Or at least Rain would get a lung disease. You see, because Rain's brother, Andy, is in fact a synthetic, or android, as we call them, in the common sci-fi vernacular. But to her, he is her brother, even though her father just found Andy in a junk pile and essentially rebuilt him and gave him the primary protocol of doing whatever is best for Rain. Now, Rain is played by Kylie Spaini. I don't know how to say her name. Kylie plays Rain, and David Johnson plays Andy. And honestly, I think that these are easily the two characters that pulled me into the movie. I cared about their relationship the whole way through. Just everything that's going on with them was interesting. So right there off the bat, it's already doing better than Twisters, which is a soulless cash grab of a reboot. I'm not giving you a full Twisters review here. I'm just saying that movie sucks. This movie, though, this movie kicks ass. Let's continue. Now, of course, Rain wants to escape the mining planet with her brother Andy, and they're going to get out of there. Unfortunately, Weyland Yutani, of course, sucks, and they tell them that the quotas to get reassigned or to leave the planet are now essentially doubled. So they are trapped there for another 4 to 6 years. Yay! However, Rain and Andy have some friends who also live there. And those friends have discovered that there is an abandoned Weyland Yutani spaceship floating in the upper atmosphere of the planet that has cryopods on it. And if they can get on it and they can get those cryopods, they can use the cryopods to get away from the mining company and go to an independent world. So they convince Rain to join their adventure because they need her brother Andy to use his Weyland Yutani android brain to break into the space station. Oh, they don't know it's a space station at first, though. They think it's just a regular ship that's been abandoned. But upon entering it, they discover that not as all as it seems. It is, in fact, not a spaceship, but a space station. A space station that is on a collision course with the asteroid rings of the planet. Meteor rings? What are those? They call those rings that are just made up of rocks and ice that are around like Saturn and stuff. I don't know. The point is, is it's on a collision course with that to essentially get ground down in the universe's equivalent of a sandpaper machine in space. Now, of course, they are joined by a number of questionable miners who want to escape that planet, including Tyler, Kay, Bjorn, Navarro. But they go on the space station. Now, there's a lot of tension in the group because one of them, I believe it's Bjorn, is a super huge piece of shit to Andy because he doesn't like the synthetics. Synthetic humanity is something that has come into play in a number of these movies, specifically ones that Ridley Scott is directing. I've noticed he's a big fan of it in his in Prometheus and Alien Covenant. And those themes are still represented here in Andy, except that Andy is kind of someone I root for most of the movie. Even after a period of the movie where he gets upgraded that undermines his ability to be completely trustworthy, he was still one of my favorite characters. And Bjorn's a dick. Now, when they first get on the space station, there's a lot of shenanigans with face huggers. In fact, these little face rapists are one of the big things in the film to look out for. This is probably the most face huggers we've ever seen in one place. In fact, as they go throughout the space station, they discover that they had all the extra cryo fuel because they were keeping literally hundreds of face huggers in cryo. In fact, they go into one room that has 36 different face huggers who are about to escape cryo. Now, while they're on the ship, they also discover another synthetic. A synthetic that will be very recognizable to those who are big fans of the Alien series. Now, I've heard some people online criticize the appearance of Rook. Now, I won't lie, there's a part of me that's like, why not a bishop android? Actually, I'm guessing the reason why not a bishop android is because this movie takes place between the first and the second movie, and the bishop androids who are supposed to be loosely based on Weyland, on the head of Weyland-Yutani, they don't show up until the second Alien movie. But here we have Ian Holmes' Rook, although technically he's played by Daniel Betts, with computer putting Ian Holmes' face on Daniel Betts. Now, some people criticize this, but honestly, I was fine with it. I enjoyed seeing Rook here. I thought I didn't think it was problematic for him to be for him to be a Rook style android, because that is the thing, is that the androids look like they're mass manufactured. There's going to be a lot of each of the different types of Rooks or bishops, or I'm just now realizing that, are they all based off chess pieces? No, he was called David in Prometheus. Why wasn't he named after a chess piece? Really, Scott, explain yourself. Now, of course, chaos ensues. There are betrayals. Humans freak out when they realize they're in danger. Androids try to do what is best for survival. Of course, Weyland-Yutani Company are out here doing all this stuff. Now, the way the movie ties into Prometheus, and this is the big spoiler, the one that's not in the trailer at all, is that the black goo is back from Prometheus / Alien Covenant. Weyland-Yutani wants to use the black goo to essentially bioengineer human beings to be more efficient outer space survivors. They still think of the alien as the perfect entity. Well, of course they do. This is still early. Remember, this takes place in between the first two movies. So if you're going to watch them in sort of a chronological timeline of the events in the universe, you would watch this movie second. As it turns out, the alien in this one is in fact the exact alien that Sigourney Weaver's character Ripley jettisoned into space at the end of the first movie. Well, kind of. You see, Weyland-Yutani has recovered that alien and has proceeded to do a lot of experimenting. And they've created a black goo that they think can mutate humans to become able to survive in outer space. And most of the characters in the movie also believe this, although it's also Not true. They just didn't see the final results of what happened to the rat who was given the goo. But the goo is a direct reference to both Prometheus and Alien Covenant. Both movies, this movie is better than. Now, I will say, so like the thing about Alien Covenant is that Alien Covenant is also a poor attempt to like course correct, which was a shame because the problem with Prometheus wasn't that it didn't have interesting ideas. Prometheus had a lot of interesting ideas. It also had some really stupid shit and some poorly written moments. But Prometheus had a lot of potential, had a lot of ideas that we could have explored. And then Alien Covenant came around and was like, no, we're not going to do any of that shit. Now, Alien Romulus doesn't completely fix that. It doesn't. My point is more how absurdly bad of a course correct Alien Covenant was. It just throws us back into Aliens once again, except with a lot more evil android, killing off some characters and essentially being like, yeah, we could learn about the engineers, or we could genocide the engineers so we never have to talk about them again. Yeah. That's Alien Covenant for you. But let's get back to Alien Romulus, which, first of all, great name. Ridley Scott sure loves his Greek and Roman references. And yes, it is a Roman reference. Like I was saying, my favorite characters are Rain and Andy. A couple of the other space crew are okay, specifically Tyler, I think. But ultimately, like, at a certain point, I'm like, yeah, they're all probably going to die. And a couple of them, I'm like, I'm glad you're going to die. And of course, the thing is that one of the themes the movie still plays with is the androids themselves. Like, can you trust the synthetics? Will Andy choose to care, or is it all just about the way he's programmed? Once he receives the Weyland-Yutani upgrade, is he even the same guy? Is there something more to the prejudice that Bjorn's constantly displays towards Andy for being a synthetic? Alien is a weird series because it does feel like it's one where at a certain point the people behind Alien were like, you know what? The androids are more interesting to us. And in fairness to them, the androids are at least characters. Xenomorphs aren't really characters. They're wild animals. They're monsters. Character implies that it has a moral point of view, and the face rapist here does not have a moral point of view. It lives only to survive. That's its goal, that's its dream, it's its plan. So what happens with that goo, you might be saying? Well, that is sort of what the whole thing is building up to. You see, one of the characters on their ship, Kay, played by Isabella Merced? I'm not sure how you say that. Merced? I don't know. Their pilot's name is their pilot's name is Navarro, and they're played by Eileen Wu. I like their character, but they have facehugger victim written all over them. In fact, yeah. The movie has also some great set pieces, some great sci-fi technology put in places, things like the X-ray torch that lets people see through their like body. Stuff like the zero-G gravity is used in a number of very satisfying moments and set pieces. The sequence where they're in zero gravity and there's just like tons of acid blood floating and they have to try and get around it. Honestly, awesome. The Xenomorph is played by Trevor Newland, and he does a great job as the Xenomorph because the Xenomorph is a suit. Puppetry's back, baby. We got fucking puppet facehuggers running around, and we got fucking people in bodysuits playing Xenomorphs. It's practical effects, and it looks great. It's slimy and tactile and looks like it would be hard if you punched it in the face. But let's get back to that black goo. Like I was saying, the character Kay is pregnant. Now, of course, this is thematically relevant because the alien is a sort of pregnancy-based body horror. The idea that a baby might come out of you from a place it's not supposed to. So her pregnancy fits in pretty well thematically. And it's interesting that hers is the character who holds Eileen Wu's character Navarro in her arms as Navarro seizes and has an alien pop right out of her. It's interesting that the pregnant woman is the witness to this intense body horror. However, the pregnant our pregnant friend here, Isabella, eventually becomes injured and is losing blood. However, the androids involved believe that if she takes the black goo serum, she will recover. She does end up taking the black goo serum. Unfortunately, the result of taking the black goo serum is that she gives birth to someone the credits only refer to as offspring. And this is, of course, an alien-human hybrid, the kind they try and make in Alien 4, although here they make it pretty successfully. Played by Robert Bob Rozkia. Not sure if I pronounced his last name correctly at all, but I will say, dude has a interesting face and neck. But it makes him perfect to play these alien-human hybrids. The alien-human hybrid, of course, looking like a cross between an alien and a human, but with the face of an engineer, which is interesting. I will also say that there's a lot of, you know how you see a lot of movies that have like phallic imagery in them? Well, Alien Romulus has tons of vaginal imagery. You don't see any actual vaginas, but there's lots of things throughout the movie where you're like, well, that's clearly designed around a vagina. I think the cast does a great job. Obviously, the really impressive people in the cast are Kylie and David Johnson, who do a wonderful job. Although no one in the crew does a bad job at all. Of course, special shout out to Trevor Newland and his physical acting as the xenomorph. If you haven't already seen this movie, then I have to insist you go see it. If you are remotely an Alien fan and you prefer movies with spoilers, then definitely go see it. It does all the things you want an Alien movie to do. In fact, arguably, this is one of the best Alien movies. It's probably in the top 3. I'd have to rewatch all the Alien movies to tell you exactly where in the top 3, but it probably is. Alien Romulus is fantastic. If you like space, if you like horror, if you like Alien the franchise, then you gotta see this movie. Well, this is a short one today. Well, I mean, I guess it's long for a movie review, but it's short for me. Thank you for tuning in. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe on YouTube. You can also follow me on Spotify, and of course, leave comments on both. If you want to reach out and contact the program for any reason, including you feel like you want to come in and yell at me about why I'm wrong about Alien Romulus, you can email the program at rubenuncut@gmail.com. Thank you for tuning in. Have a wonderful whatever, wherever, whoever you are.